So this is going to be a complete walkthrough of my cruelty-free makeup collection, and I will split this into several different episodes, so make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the other parts of my makeup collection. Okay, so here we have my sort of face and base product drawer. Let's start over here with my primers. Favorite primer is by far the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have it in the shade number 2, and this is so luminous and definitely a holy grail item that I will keep on repurchasing. I also have the Milani Prime Light, but I could definitely do without it since I love my Charlotte Tilbury. And I also have the Cover FX Illuminating Primer, so I'm definitely trying to use both of these up. This guy right here is probably my favorite foundation now. I am debating between this one or the Wet n Wild. I haven't really figured it out yet. I am in the shade LN3. This is not my shade match at all, but they only carry 5 shades in total in Sweden. I don't know why they decided to do that. Really weird decision. This foundation looks like skin, and that is the #1 requirement that I have in my foundation, and that is why I love it. We also have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, and this one also looks like skin. And I have 2 shades because I have to mix them. I also have the Wet n Wild Cushion Foundation. This is fairly new to my collection, so I haven't made up my mind yet. So we shall see, but this one is a little bit more dewy, but I don't feel like it sits as nicely on my face. Over here we have my concealers. So I have the Glossier Stretch Concealer, and I use this one on a no makeup day when I just am either in a hurry or I just want to put down something very light, and it looks like that, super nice and dewy on the skin. I also have the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and I love this one because it is such a fair shade whilst still not being super yellow, which they usually are, so really loving this shade. It is in Fair Warm. I also have the matching concealer for this foundation, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, and this one looks like skin underneath my eyes. Never makes me look drier than I am, so yeah, love this one. I also have a backup of this one, and I also have the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. Do not enjoy this one underneath my eyes whatsoever, but I do like it for other stuff, so yeah, it can stay. So I have a ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Puppy Love, which has a peach flip to it, so use that on my cheekbones. I also have the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Moonlight, and I love mixing this one in with my foundation if I want to add a bit of an extra oomph to it. This one is definitely intense. I almost feel like it is too intense for my cheekbones. I also have the NYX Dose of Dew Face Gloss, which I hear absolutely nobody talking about. This is definitely a hidden gem in my opinion. Once it is blended out on the skin, it doesn't really have that much of a base shade. It is pretty much just a pure sheen or gloss, like the name suggests. Now this is probably the prettiest highlighter that I have in my collection, to be honest. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Beauty Light Wand. So let me swatch it for you so you guys can see for yourself. The one thing I absolutely adore about this product is that it has absolutely zero shimmery or glittery particles in it. It is just pure sheen. So here we have my highlighters, my blushes, my powders, which pretty much consists of 2 products since I am a dry gal. This is what a powder collection looks like. Some face palettes, some more blushes, and some bronzers. I also have some single blushes, so I'll show you later on. So I have this Cover FX Mini Highlighter in the shade Moonlight. This is definitely one of my favorites because it doesn't look glittery at all. I don't know if there's any point in swatching highlighters, but there you have it anyways, in case there is a point. Next up we have the LC highlighter. This is in the shade Pearly Glaze. There are all of these shades mixed in the LC highlighter. Next up I have Ofra Beverly Hills. This is by far the best really intense blingy highlighter that I have found, because this one looks so smooth on the skin, doesn't look textury at all, if that's a word. There's a swatch of the light golden shade in Ofra Beverly Hills. Here we have Mary Luminizer. She was in my product pan, which explains why I have so much pan in this one. Now Mary Luminizer is equally as intense as Ofra, I would say, but doesn't look as smooth on the skin, so therefore I definitely prefer Ofra. Here is a swatch of those 3, Pearl, Moonstone, and Champagne Pop. Champagne Pop is actually too dark for my skin tone, which I realized once I got it in the mail, unfortunately. So my favorite is definitely Moonstone. And lastly, we have 3 affordable highlighters, and I love all of these 3 formulas. The most natural one is the Milani. ColourPop I would say is in the middle, and Wet n Wild is the most intense. So from left to right we have Milani's Summer Glow, then we have a ColourPop here Kitty Kitty, and then lastly we have Wet n Wild Blossom Glow. When it comes to blushes, I do have one lonely single cream blush. And this is Glossier's Cloud Paint. And we two do not get along yet. Unfortunately, I haven't given up hope because everyone says that this does not disrupt their foundation underneath, but every single time I put this on, my foundation lifts off. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Here we have Frat Boy and Hot Mama from The Balm. I love their formula. I also have two Afterglow blushes from Urban Decay in the shade Indecent, and Video on the right. Video is one of my all-time favorite blush shades. I love it so much. So this is what the Adore Duo looks like, and the shades are so perfect, and I feel like this formula looks so natural on the cheeks. You do not have to be scared of the clown cheek look at all with this formula because it is so lightweight and just enough pigment. Same is true for their bronzer formula. This is their light to medium duo. Looks like this, and it is just pure perfection when it comes to the formula. Everything I have ever looked for in a bronzer. I also have this highlighter palette from Colourpop, and it's called This Is For You. I really enjoyed this little palette right here. I think it was a great purchase, and I can mix and match the shades to suit my skin tone. This palette has a finishing powder, a blush, and a highlighter. Not the biggest fan of the highlighter. I don't know if you can tell, but it has some glitter specks in it. Absolutely love this blush. It looks so fresh and healthy on the cheeks. And this one I use to sort of just dust all over my face once I'm done, and it just adds a little bit of a glow. So here you have the shade names in this little palette right here. Like I said before, welcome to my powder collection. It has two products, and the only one I ever will need or repurchase is this one. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in the shade Diffused Light. And this is definitely a dry gal's best friend, I have to say. This formula works so well. I have some more single bronzers in here. We have the Balm Desert bronzer that is currently in my project pan. This is Wet n Wild Ticket to Brazil in the old, really chunky and oversized packaging. This is the Becca Sunlit bronzer in the shade Bali Sands. On the left is Becca Bali Sands, and on the right is Wet n Wild Ticket to Brazil. And they are both great shades if you are super fair to light and you haven't found a bronzer that looks natural on you. And then lastly, I have this Cover FX bronzer in the shade Suntan. I actually use this shade specifically for contouring because I feel like it has a perfect undertone for that purpose. Lastly, we have my single blushes from 100% Pure. I love this formula because it has great ingredients. So this is the shade Healthy. This is the shade Peach. This is Mimosa, which is a fun pop of coral. And lastly, we have the shade Pretty Naked, which is my favorite because I am boring like that when it comes to blushes.